So, so in our last lecture, we were discussing specifically the process of digestion and metabolism. And we were specifically talking about how macromolecules are digested um, by enzymes to create these smaller units that the cells can then utilize. So now we're going to shift gears a little bit and talk about the other end of the spectrum where we have micronutrients and what those look like and how they're used in the body. So again, all living organisms require both macronutrients and micronutrients. And when we're talking about micronutrients, a lot of the things that we're starting to talk about are minerals, such as calcium, iron, potassium, sodium, and all of these have very specific functions in the body, including bone, teeth formation, um, hemoglobin and red blood cells, things that allow us to contract our muscles, as well as provide nerve function. Um, and again, all of these can be found in different fruits and in different food sources. And when we have deficiencies in any of these, we can start to see different types of health outcomes, um, and and you can see that that profound lack of micronutrients can result in some pretty serious complications, such as kidney stones, risk of type 2 diabetes, muscle weakness, heart failure, and high blood pressure. So micronutrients sort of come in a few broad spectrum categories, just like macronutrients. And when we're talking about micronutrients, the first one that we're going to be talking about is minerals. And these are inorganic elements that are required by organisms for normal growth, reproduction, and tissue maintenance. And then the next type that we're going to be talking about is vitamins. And again, similar to minerals, these are now organic molecules that allow us to, again, are needed for normal growth, reproduction, and tissue maintenance. And all of these play both structural and functional roles in the body. So, how are micronutrients used metabolically? Again, thinking about metabolism as a series of chemical reactions that are needed to produce energy in the body. So, minerals act as cofactors. And so, a cofactor is essentially a micronutrient that is required to activate an enzyme. So, again, to activate those proteins that speed up different reactions. Examples of these are zinc, copper, and iron. And whereas vitamins act as coenzymes, so basically small organic molecules that, again, are required to activate these enzymes. So the big difference between these is inorganic and organic molecules that help activate different enzymes. So this image just talks about the different ways that micronutrients are used in the body. So for this first example, the mineral calcium and phosphorus are both really important for building strong teeth and bones. And another example of a vitamin is vitamin A, which is needed for retinol, which is also known as retinol. For those people who are really into skincare, a very important type of enzyme that can help you help with wrinkles, and helps maintain your photoreceptors in your eye and vision. And the other way we can again think about some vitamins and minerals is the idea that they can be cofactors or coenzymes. So here we have this inactive enzyme, but when we have this cofactor, in this case vitamin B9, it goes in and it activates this enzyme so that it can then the substrate can bind specifically to this enzyme. And This enzyme activity leads to DNA synthesis, which is essential for cell division and inheritance. So, what I want you really to be able to take away from this series of lectures of both macro and micronutrients is not just, sort of being able to list or define what a macronutrient is or what a micronutrient is, but thinking through how those nutrients then are used by the body um, at both sort of this chemical level and the cellular level, and that those in turn are important for larger biological processes. So again, connecting the dots between molecule to actual biology. So in summary for these lectures on energy, nutrition, and metabolism, first thing we need to broadly say is that food is, a source of nutrients, and those nutrients provide the chemicals that are required to build and maintain cells and tissues and to furnish cells with the energy they are needed to function. Secondly, nutrients are required and that are required in large amounts are called macronutrients. Again, those are divided into carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids. And then there are nutrients that are that are required in smaller amounts, which are micronutrients. And we looked at those with both vitamins and minerals. And again, being able to link what macronutrients do for the body and what micronutrients can do for the body. And then we talked specifically about enzymes and how those assist in metabolic processes, and that enzymes are essentially proteins that accelerate the rate of chemical reactions by binding specifically to substrates and reducing the activation energy for a reaction to occur. And lastly, we define specifically how enzymes mediate both bond-breaking catabolic reactions and bond-building antibiotic reactions. And we are able to look at those graphs and how enzymes help mediate both of those processes. So in our next lecture, we're going to be discussing specifically how these different enzymes play out in plants, and we're going to be thinking about energy flow specifically. So here we were looking at energy flow in animals. We're going from macronutrients to micronutrients, and looking at metabolism and digestion. So now we're going to shift gears and see how those processes are done in plants. Okay, see you next time.